Pasa amigos! Today we are doing the encryption problem. So let me go back. It's a medium problem with a 92% pass rate if I am not mistaken. An English text needs to be encrypted using the following encryption scheme. First, the spaces are removed from the text. Let L be the length of this text. Then the characters are written into a grid whose rows and columns have the following constraints. The square root of L. I don't know what this is. What is this bracket? The floor of the square root of L is less than or equal to rows, less than or equal to columns, which is less than or equal to the ceiling of the square root of L, where x is the floor function and x is the ceiling function, in the form of a grid with 7 rows and 8 columns. Is this really a medium difficulty question? This seems like very straightforward, but it's always the straightforward ones that get you. I'm probably going to store this in a nested array, and normally that would bring you to an n squared complexity with like a lot of problems, but by referencing exact indices instead of iterating through every index in here, like explicitly, I should be able to get this to stay in an O of n solution, I think, which I haven't even considered this part up here really. So normally I would go about approaching a problem, especially of this caliber, by writing it down, but I think everything's pretty straightforward. I did actually miss these two conditions, which are pretty important, but outside of that, this is a pretty straightforward problem. So we're going to do a few things. So we're going to say let words, we're probably going to make this string. Oh, you know what? I wanted to do this in Python. We're switching to Python today. We're getting a little crazy. It's been a while since I've worked with Python, like three weeks-ish, and I don't want to get rusty. I was about to say, if they don't have Python, and it's like the one time I was going to use it. My hand until you turn to ashes. S dot. Oh man. Remove? No. Really? S dot. Is it format? See, it's going to take me a minute to get used to strip. That's what it is. It's going to take me a minute to get used to doing this again. It's not strip characters space. And I'm going to go ahead and put this print. Man, it's really been a while. No. I think I got this. Okay, I think I'm getting the hang of this again. It's crazy. It's like learning how to walk again, man. But you ain't nothing else, so. This is actually a little weird. I think this might be just here to throw me off. I don't actually know the square root function in Python. Man. I forget how. Oh my god, no! Damn, I forget how to do a lot of this. Square root is a pretty costly operation, so I'm going to try to keep the its results saved. This multiple grids thing is like tripping me up a little bit, because L has to be less than so basically it's saying the rows have to be greater than or equal to L, the floor of L. Columns have to be greater than or equal to the rows. I suppose there's what, 3 different combinations there? There is there though? There's the row is less than the column. There's the row is equal to the column. So the row and column could be equal to each other and both be the same number. Okay, so like imagine 7 and 8. So this is 7, this is 8. This could be 8 and 8, 7, 7, 7 and 8. Yep, that's right. There's 3 different states. So all right. We're actually gonna define a separate function. So in this function, we are going to build the array. So I guess we'll call it build array. And I think arrays are directly mutable. So like if you pass them in a parameter, you can mutate them from something else. So we're gonna pass. Yeah, we'll pass words. It'll make things simple for us. So we're gonna build array, words, row, length, call length, and we're gonna print nothing. Hold my hand until it turn to ashes. I got no day in my casket. So the first, we're actually gonna do a floor of both of these. And if that's the case, we're gonna build the array of words, floor, square root, L, floor, square root of L. Yep, seems about right. Except I'm calling a method that doesn't return anything. Well, I don't have it initialized anything. I can also just return words. Wait, I don't need to return anything. Yeah, okay, so it does everything on its own, so I don't need to return anything. But I also feel like that's also bad programming practice to just do things like that. I feel like this should return something. And if that's the case, I probably don't want to pass words. No. Yep, this seems better. Undefined name, square root of L. That kind of does make sense. So yeah, for myself, so. Math, okay, so there is in fact, you forget things like this every now and then. Math, dot floor, math, dot floor, math, dot floor. God damn it. Alright, listen, here's what we're gonna do. I probably shouldn't say that. Floor equals nothing. I actually don't think I need to pass both the row length and the column length. I'm pretty sure either will determine. Well, maybe I do, because you can have run over. Wait, hold on. Oh, it is right, okay. For a second I got confused. Rewind to pin, I was such a dummy. I had to get the ashes. Honestly, it's kind of nice not talking because I can finally hear myself fucking think. Must be real number. Okay, because this should be dot length. What do you mean? Oh, because trying to pull out the JavaScript properties, bro. I think it's this. Okay. Ugh. I wonder how length works, because like in JavaScript this is a property, but in Python they might actually just be counting, which is kind of a costly operation. Python's built on C? Okay, so it is stored in the metadata. Okay. It's an O of 1 operation, so. That's actually so crazy. Python is built on C. But I don't understand how that works because Python's interpreted and C is compiled. Translate Python code into bytecode and executes it in a Python virtual machine. Just-in-time compiler, which is basically a compiler. Jython, I've never heard of that. Interesting. What? On the Java virtual machine? Could you even call it Python at that point? Into intermediate form bytecode. Bytecode is a lower level platform independent representation of your code. It's stored in .pyc file in the PyCache if allowed by the environment. This compilation step happens automatically and transparently, so Python is still considered interpreted because the user doesn't explicitly compile the code. Bytecode execution and interpretation. The Python interprets the bytecode. I definitely don't know enough about compilers and interpreters, but I guess Python is considered an interpreted language, although by the words of ChatGPT, it's kind of, it's a little iffy. It's a little bit of both, I guess. I don't know. Alright, let's try this. Fuck off, man. I'm just trying to finish this. Okay, so I did spell seal wrong. Why hasn't it been throwing an error? It's been rolling with this whole time? I thought I might have spelled it wrong. Why is it just now recognizing that's an error? I guess it's because it's an interpreted language. It might not have caught that until it was ran, I guess. Man, hell if I know. Wow, that's kind of funny. It's kind of close to pi. So the floor is 3, seal is 4. Have a nice day. Oh, have a nice day. I saw have an ice day. That's funny. 2. So what it's saying is that 3 times 3, 9 is not greater than the length of this string. I need the length of this. I'm going to have this printed. Alright, so the length is 12, and so 3 times 4 meets that criteria. I did use greater than or equal to, so that's good. And the words are none. Okay, so this did not exactly go as planned. And that's probably because I did not return words at the end. Oh wow, so that's not it. I mean, it does a good job of keeping the columns the length that I wanted them to be. But if we're being real here, why is this is 0th index divided by 4, so it becomes a new one. Yeah, that's not it either. There should be, what, 3 strings? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not even for letter and enumerate message. It's not even doing the whole entire message. What is that about? I don't understand how that's even possible. Forward seal. I seriously don't see how that's even possible. Okay, so this does iterate over the full thing, so I cannot even comprehend why, in any case, this wouldn't get appended. Because the last one... Okay. Words dot append, word. Word. Alright, so that should do that. Yep. And multiple statements in a line. I can't, is that... I'm pretty positive I literally just wrote that exact thing. Alright, well, I'm just kind of upset that it's giving me an error at that point. So, let's try. Alright. And it wants me to... Oh wait, I need to return the columns. What does this return? Your output. Okay. String instance instead, list found. Well, you see, that's what I like to call really fucking annoying. Alright. You know what? I think a bowl of cereal sounds good. Alright, so I went off screen for a minute and I ended up coming up with the solution off screen. really not much different than my original. The only difference is really this line right here. And, oh, come on, don't be such a grouch. I know. But you're sitting on my lap, so you gotta deal with my problems, okay? Yeah, the only thing that's different is this, and this basically just transposes the matrix, you could call it, so that basically it takes the, you know, as per the problem description, it takes the first, well, it turns columns into rows, basically. Yeah, so don't go ape shit on me for going off screen to get this. The reason that I went off screen to get this is because, yes, if I were to just like raw dog this and, you know, try and transpose a matrix myself, I could probably do so. And, you know, maybe my solution's efficient, maybe it's not. But even, like, there's two things. I'm not positive that I would have came up with the most efficient solution. And the other thing is that I also might not have came up with the least complex solution. And the last thing is that if I know I'm confident that I can transpose the matrix in at least some fashion, maybe not the most efficient, then there's no reason for me to go out of my way to try to do that. I might as well just use what's given to me and ask ChatGPT. But there is one thing. So this is actually very much reducible. I asked ChatGPT to provide me with like the most efficient solution, and it literally looks like this, except there's no additional thing here, and it's just like really nice. The return statement, I'll show you guys. I'm gonna close my eyes. There. So this is what they got, and yeah. So I don't know. I'm gonna get to building this. I think the first thing we can do is we could probably simplify this pretty significantly. So how do we do that? So instead I opted to start basically reducing here because row length was a parameter that I was passing, but I wasn't using it, and so obviously it's pretty useless here. And see what we can do from here. To my surprise, there's another thing we can do. So this was the original code I had. You can entirely, so I mean, these literally do the same thing. I mean, these two conditions, like, you know, both of these conditions check the exact same thing. And so you can delete one of them, and then once you delete one of them, you can look at this and realize, oh, well, there's literally, I mean, one of these two have to run, so this can become else, and you run it, and it works. So there's that. The next thing we should probably work to improve is the build array. Honestly, I say we just delete the whole thing and see what else we can do. At its base, what we're doing is we are trying to take a string, which I think it's best if we don't put it in the form of nested arrays. I mean, it helps when you're like working through things logically, but efficiency-wise, it's not very helpful. I think we can do something along the lines of saying take every sealed character, and for us that would be 4. So it's every character up until 4. So that's really weird though. I don't understand. I seriously can't even fathom how that works. You know what? I'm just gonna copy this and see if it does work. Because we don't even know that much for sure. That works, and I literally cannot understand how. You know what? I really don't feel like comprehending how this works. I get the concept. I should understand it, but I don't. Oh. Okay, so the double, that's a step. That's why I wasn't understanding it. Okay. So for I in range seal, I think we're going to go over 0 to 4. I don't know if it's probably not inclusive of seal though. So 0, and it's going to step 4. 0 takes the H, then it's going to step 4. On the next iteration. Why isn't this doubly nested though? How does that work? Alright guys, well, forgive my stupidity. I seem to have a lot of these moments, but I understand now. So this is basically like a for loop almost. What it does is it starts at index I and it steps seal and it steps until it is out of range, and it basically creates an array of the numbers that it visited, the elements that it visited. And then what this does is it does that same thing, but it basically just changes the starting position. So it pretty much is a double nested for loop. I don't know that this was much more efficient than my solution. I mean, it's definitely a lot less complex. But I honestly, other than a few optimizations I could have made with my code to decrease complexity and decrease time cost, this is really not that much better. I think that mine was a little bit more readable, a little more human, a little bit more understandable. Like, if somebody were to revisit my code, it would make perfect sense how it works. But then again, this has a level of simplicity, obviously, that makes it pretty obvious what's going on. Alright, well, I'm going to call that a video. Have a good day, guys.